Madeline Smith. I just became chair of advertising for Stand Up Club. Their old chair of ad went to do this like improv internship thing in Chicago with Second City, so that was pretty cool. I had big shoes to fill, and I've done like maybe one thing for them. I made a poster for the club, and then that's it. And I put it kind of around campus. Like I need to be better about it, but like I said, I don't have much going on to advertise.
What's the poster?
So it's just like I did a brick wall kind of background, and I just threw it together in Photoshop and kind of in Illustrator, but it's just like a brick wall, and then it has like an old-timey kind of microphone, like the ones that look like they have the slats in them, you know? And then there's a spotlight coming in that I kind of just created, and it's illuminating the brick wall, and there's like the shadow of this microphone, and then it just has our information, and then Appalachian State Stand Up Club, and where we are and who to email and stuff like that. So
How'd the club start?
I am not the best about this. I remember that my friend Eric was instrumental in getting it started. Eric Stevens, I don't know if he does stand up like just around now. He's graduated. I don't know who like officially started the club. Maybe I feel like it's the name that starts with D. But other than that, I know it's really young. Like it was probably a year and a half old when I joined, which was last semester, like I said. So I don't think it's that old.
What brought you to Leiden?
I don't know. My friends were telling me to go and stuff like that, and my family's always told me to do stand up. And I thought that if I was going to start anywhere, it might as well be with a bunch of other amateurs and get like some kind of good feedback from people my own age and of my own like skill level. And originally I wasn't going to do any, and this is how it started with the Rotten Apple too. Like I went to one meeting and I was like, this is intimidating. Everyone's better than me. Like I don't ever want to actually participate in anything. But then
some of my best friends here in Boone, so. I think
Well, if you ever think of one, just,
yeah,
feel free
I'll bring it up.
Yeah. So what got you interested in stand-up comedy?
Since I was young, I've loved stand-up comedy. I don't know like an age, but like just watching it was, I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. And it was going to sound like, I'm sure you're going to interview other people and this is going to be the same thing, but like my friends thought I was funny. And so, you know, taking my crack at being funny in front of people, like on a stage, was something that I could, you know, probably do. Like maybe I could be good at this, you know. I think most people in the club have some sort of dream of being like a writer or performer on SNL or having a special of their own or something like that. So I think that like drive is kind of what prompted me to want to even give it a shot.
Could you like just talk about now and what you do and how that works, and then kind of go into how improv is different from stand-up?
Sure, I can do that. Noun is also something that I'm pretty new, or improv in general is something that I'm new at. I've only been on it this year. But it's supremely different. I mean, I don't really perform stand-up comedy with the club or at all because I don't think that I'm personally very good at it, and I find it like nerve-wracking. I may like eventually try it again, but improv is different. As most people know, you know, you're improvising. It's all on the spot, made up, and there's like a kind of freedom that comes with that to like make mistakes, not be that funny at times. But with stand-up, I felt personally like whenever I was trying it, that there was this, you know, extra pressure that I put on myself to like make sure that every line was like jam-packed with like funny, because, you know, they know, like the audience knows that you wrote this, so if it sucks, they're gonna be like, what did he think he was like doing? So I think there's like the main difference, and you're up there by yourself, which is nerve-wracking.
Can't feed off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can feed off the crowd if they like you, but if they don't, you know, yeah, you're kind of alone.
Who are your biggest like influencers?
Like famous comics.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a stand-up. It could just be like, you know, out there.
Okay. Well, I mean, you mentioned Will Ferrell before this. I loved Will Ferrell. All of his movies as a kid, and like had the best of DVDs from SNL and all that. And I remember like my parents are divorced, and like when I would go to my dad's house, he actually had cable, which was sweet. And I would watch those like 30-minute stand-up specials on Comedy Central. They would come on at like weird times of day on the weekends and just would watch a ton of those and Dave Chappelle.
So you bombed, got heckled. What was now? How do you watch us through the night you killed the best? What was the best bit you've ever had?
Probably the first time I ever actually performed. I think it was because there was so much build up to it. Like, this was something I wanted to do for so long, and then I finally got to do it, and I loved it. It was in a classroom of maybe 30 people, half of which were everyone's friends. But I got up there and I practiced this script basically of what I wanted to do, and then didn't even do half of it. I just kind of made up the other half, and I think that was really what kept me coming back for more, was that one performance.
What joke has gotten the most laughs?
I have a lot of hatred for a lot of animals. I hate horses. One of them tried to kill me once by basically just walking off of a mountain. Horses are just assholes, which makes me confused about those girls in middle school that are fucking obsessed with them. Of course, now I'm trying to remember it. Yeah, no, it's gone. I can't even remember
You have
it.
another one?
Give me just a second. See, that's the problem with stand-up comedy, is like when you're put on the spot, that would be improv, but stand-up comedy, it's a little different. I can't think of one off the top of my head, to be honest.
You're good. So what advice do you have for people who are just starting up and they bomb?
I think the first time you bomb, see it as a good thing, because you've gotten your first one out of the way. It's not going to be the last time, and you just kind of have to accept that. I think just take it with a grain of salt, learn from it. Like, you bombed for a reason. Maybe it was just like a shitty crowd.
You're standing up in front of people, making dick jokes or whatever, but at the same time, it's something that, is very, very necessary and useful for our society in a lot of ways. But they just had a desire for it and wanted to kind of jump headfirst into what that is, and whether as an amateur or a hobby or even possibly as a career someday, just kind of learn about it, learn about humor, learn about the psychology behind it in a sense even. But just primarily by getting up in front of your friends and telling jokes. And that's sort of how the whole ball started rolling. He formed the club and formed the officers. Student interest became really high, and here we are today.
Perfect. How many students are in the club right now?
I don't know exactly what our membership is. The last time I went to one of the shows that they had last semester, and there were about 100 people in attendance for the shows. So there was quite a lot of interest. The actual club itself is probably is smaller than that, but at any given meeting we'll have 15 to 20 folks show up usually, and that is those meetings are open to club members, but also we have 2 meetings a week. So it's one of those things where if you can't show up to one or the other, or maybe you can only show up to one every other week, we have different opportunities. And those meetings are run in different ways. So it's almost kind of hard to keep track of exactly how much interest we have in the club. I'd have to ask our secretary is that what the exact numbers on that is. But yeah.
So could you mention any specific students that I think are the front runners for this club that are actually really taking this seriously? This is what they want to do, and
Yeah, well,
what their career wants. I cannot talk. This is what they want for their future to be a stand-up comedian?
Sure, and there's quite a few people, I mean, almost everybody. As far as future of being a stand-up comedian, it's hard to answer that question just because it's sort of a terrible goal. And not in the means of it's not a noble or good thing to try, but it's one of those things that, I guess in my mind, being a comedian is what you are. It's not necessarily a job, you know what I mean? Stand-up is part of how you do that, but this idea of being a comedian, going back to like court jesters and things like that, being a joker, being someone that can, that provides a service. It's kind of hard to, you can do that in any career field, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But those that are taking stand-up and comedy writing particularly seriously, Tyler Wilford he's actually the student, he was in one of my acting classes, and I mentioned in my acting class that I did stand-up when I was in LA for a while I was trying to make money there. Didn't make money from stand-up, but anyway, we talked about that, and he mentioned that their club advisor was leaving campus to work for a different university, and they needed somebody to work with them. I'm like, yeah, so, but he's one that particularly I think he has some really good chops and is very interested in going down this career. Connor as well, the president, last names are the worst for me right now, but he's a very, very funny guy, but it seems like the majority of our membership take it seriously. It's not just a throwaway thing. Like,